No one across the political spectrum is safe from the acid wit of Bill Maher, the comedian and host of Real Time on HBO. On recent episodes of his show, he has brought his sharp analysis to big issues in the news, such as the presidential election and college campus protests.
All right, let's jump into something that's been making waves recently. Bill Maher's unapologetic takedown of CNN. This isn't just another interview, but like a full-fledged critique that seriously challenges the network's claim of neutrality. During a heated exchange, Maher didn't hold back, calling out what he sees as clear hypocrisy and a marked political bias at CNN.
In the middle of your book, you write, "Some people think I've changed. I assure you I have not. I'm still the same unmarried, childless, pot-smoking libertine I always was. I have many flaws, but you can't accuse me of maturing."
He argues that their so-called middle ground stance is a facade, pointing out how conservative voices are frequently drowned under a tide of liberal perspectives. This is super significant, especially at a time when trust in media is hanging by a thread. If you're as fed up with partisan echo chambers as Maher, you'll want to stick around. While you're here, subscribing would mean a lot to me. It helps keep me going, and I'm aiming for 1,000 subscribers by the end of January. So, hit that button and stay connected. Wouldn't want you missing out on our upcoming content. All right, so diving deeper into the heart of this controversy, we have Bill Maher going head-to-head with a CNN host. Their conversation wasn't just a polite exchange of differing opinions. It was, to be honest, more of an all-out verbal showdown. Maher minced no words, accusing CNN of perpetuating a subtle but very present bias, which, is not exactly new news for some of us who've been tuning in. The whole thing started when the CNN host insisted that her network offers balanced reporting.
Hey, press, because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight. And the crowd burst into laughter. Look, I'm on CNN now. I guess we're on it right now. I mean, they show this show the next night. I don't know how we get away with it with all the fucks, but they do. And all these dirty jokes. But I'm glad, and I'm a big rooter for CNN. But that tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing in that arena of this is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, my show is evidence of that. We have lawmakers on from both parties. We'll have Elizabeth Warren on one night. We'll have Ted Cruz on another night. I think lawmakers from both parties should take questions, and you should push both of them. But on CNN being a place of credibility, I mean, look at what just happened in Chicago. We had 300 people from CNN on the ground covering that convention. There were several reporters from just our team alone on the floor, bringing it in real time to people. And I think CNN puts resources behind things and just brings a level of news that you don't get anywhere.
She backed up her claim with examples of her show featuring lawmakers from both sides of the aisle. She talked about having, say, Elizabeth Warren on one night, then Ted Cruz on another. The host attempted to paint her show and CNN in general as bastions of fairness and credibility. But Maher wasn't buying any of it. He interrupted, cutting through the surface, questioning the real balance in CNN's discussions. His pointed criticism was all about that visible imbalance where conservative voices seem like they're practically drowning in a sea of liberal narratives. Remember that panel he mentioned? Yeah, the one where Scott Jennings practically became like a lone representative for conservative views. Maher bluntly stated, "You're telling me this is a network for everyone? Come on, it's always 5 liberals to 1 conservative." His frustration was palpable, and he didn't shy away from highlighting the disparity that has left many folks scratching their heads. How fair can a debate possibly be if one side is overwhelmingly outnumbered? As the interview progressed, Maher cited examples, pointing to a recent political event where a conservative only got their voice in after what felt like ages of liberal commentary. This, right here, kind of exposes the reality of how conservatives are often treated. Not just invited for tokenism, but also overshadowed. The CNN host, trying to hold her ground, brought up CNN's significant presence at major political events, lauding the extensive coverage by their team. Yet, Maher wasn't convinced. He challenged her on whether these conservative voices really got a fair platform to express their views without being, instantly shot down by the others. He recalled a moment from the show of comedian Stephen Colbert, where it was joke-worthy when someone said CNN just reports the news straight. Rather telling, isn't it? Many laughed, hinting at a shared skepticism about CNN's so-called neutrality. Maher argued that it's not just about showing diversity in numbers, but allowing those voices to be, how do I put this, actually heard, It's about giving them not just airtime, but real room to discuss their perspectives without being sidetracked by a chorus of opposition. Otherwise, what's the point? Throughout this sparring match, Maher's bluntness probably echoed what a lot of viewers think but rarely hear on mainstream platforms. Many, especially conservatives, have long perceived CNN to be a liberal mouthpiece, kind of an echo chamber, and you have to wonder, does the token inclusion of a few conservative voices even matter when they're not given an equitable opportunity to speak up? It makes you think, doesn't it? How genuine can that balance claim be? At one point in a rather telling exchange, Maher criticized the network for what looked like a desperate attempt to hold on to its credibility, while not, in reality, providing the fair platform it boasted about. He stressed, if you're going to call yourself neutral, then don't merely tiptoe around that neutrality. The CNN host, for her part, defended her network's approach, emphasizing the value of their on-ground coverage and their commitment to showcasing voices from both political sides. She underscored CNN's resources and the depth of their reporting, but still faced Maher's skepticism. He insisted that merely having conservative figures is not enough if they're sidelined when it counts. And really, in the context of media today, where trust seems to be at an all-time low, Maher's commentary is a wake-up call. A lot of us are tired of narratives being manipulated to fit agendas, and Maher basically put that frustration out in the open. So, at the end of this intense exchange, we're left wondering, does CNN truly act as the open platform it claims to be? Does it cultivate a real debate or just echo its own narratives under the guise of balance? Honestly, these are questions worth pondering. And now I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with Maher's grievances, or do you think CNN is being unfairly criticized? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Can't wait to hear what you all think.